Congressman Clyburn for coming. Too often the politicians that say they speak for us never want to speak to us. So I think we should thank them for being here. We should thank them for being here. Congressman Clyburn, I love this handout, but it's missing one thing, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I want to read it. In 2019, the average, and I know you know these statistics, the average wealth of the average white American family is $188,000. For black American families, it's only $24,000. Now, I'm Gullah, okay? 80% of rural land, black land ownership, has been lost since 1969. A white high school dropout has more wealth than a black college graduate. Per the Accountable USA and the Food and Research Action Center, your district and the district I've grown up in is the 6th poorest district in the United States of America.
Which district? The 6th district?
South Carolina District 6. Now, there's a quote, and maybe that's not true, but there's a quote. There's a quote that says, I do not, but they backed it up with census data, but there's a quote that says, I do not buy the concept popular in the 1960s, which said, we have suppressed the black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, we must now give the black man a head start, or even hold the white man back to even the race. I don't buy that. I'll be damned if I paid for the sins of my forefathers. I don't feel responsible for the sins of my forefathers. I just feel responsible for now. Now, hearing that quote, y'all might think I'm talking about Donald Trump. No, that was Joe Biden. Now, Congressman, you said we know Joe and Joe knows us. And Joe Biden told us that he would have our back. But since being in office, Joe Biden has signed executive action for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. He has signed executive action for LGBTQ citizens. He has done executive action for Native Americans. But where's his executive action for black Americans? Now, what a lot of people may not realize, I don't know, because I just learned this. Funny thing, Joe Biden got in office and he repealed a lot of stuff Donald Trump did. For a man who said he wasn't concerned with the sins of forefathers, he's trying repealing past sins of Donald Trump. But what about the biggest sin and the original sin this country committed, which was the brutal enslavement of my people? And after slavery, the race massacres, the violent discrimination that kept us in poverty, the land theft, okay? We, black Americans, now, since 1865, black Americans own only 0.5 wealth in America. Today, we own less than 3%. Since slavery, not much has changed. Joe Biden could easily do executive action and bring back the Freedman's Bureau, whose job was to close all disparities between black Americans, who are descendants of freedmen, and white Americans. Joe Biden, with just a stroke of a pen, can start a commission to study reparations and implement them. You are a representative. We can't show up everywhere. People say, well, black people need to organize. We've been organizing since the 1500s. These other groups come in like Asian Americans, and within a few months, they get bills for them. It's your job to speak up for us. So you say we know Joe and Joe knows us. I don't care what type of heart Joe has. I care about the policies Joe is going to pass. So why is it, Congressman Clyburn, that you do not support reparations and you do not push Joe Biden to at least bring back the Freedmen's Bureau to close all disparities between white Americans and black Americans? We talk about a crisis at the border. What about the crisis in black America? That was the difference is the crisis in black America was inflicted on us externally. But America was built on our backs, and we still hold this country up on our backs. It's broken every bone in our bodies, and yet it keeps up with our strength. Okay, well, can you please explain why you haven't pushed them then on executive action, specific policies for your people, black Americans? That's my question. Well, I don't get it.
What makes you think that happened?
Because we haven't seen it. I see you on the news, and you talk about every other issue, AAPI, LGBTQ. I watch you. I follow you just to see if you're going to mention Black American issues, and you don't.
Have you ever heard of HR 40?
HR 40, yes, that lacks direct cash payments and has no specific, that lacks direct cash payments. It lacks specific policies that Black Americans are supposed to get. It's just a study for what policy is specified for us.
Where do you start?
We start with the minimum that Black Americans are supposed to get.
Ask the question. Where would you start?
I would start with the minimum, that a reparations policy for Black
I don't
Americans.
know what the minimum is.
I'm trying to answer your question. You gonna let me answer it? Where would I start?
Tell me what the minimum is.
The minimum, it is a book called From Here to Equality that you have a copy of because the Mystic Branch NAACP sent you a copy because I called your office. The minimum is explained in that book. At least $11 trillion. Direct cash payments, land allotment, tax exemption, free education, the Freedman's Bureau returning to close all disparity. That's the minimum.
Okay.
This stuff you can't bring back all the people they take it from us, but they can at least make a big down payment, like the $65 billion, give us our $65 trillion.
Okay. 65 billion is down there. 65 billion is a down payment. 10, 20, 30 is a down payment. The American Rescue Act is a down payment.
Specific for us.
Other down payments.
Those are universal. Those are universal policies. We're talking about specifics for Black Americans.
What's
Those are universal
for
policies.
us like an even
Well, let me ask you this. In the American Rescue Act,
Now, as we can all see, Jim Clyburn responded very condescendingly, borderline disrespectfully, and very disingenuously. Without me standing on my soapbox too much, because this is about Marcel, I've covered on multiple occasions how, like he said, the 10, 20, 30 plan was a reparations down payment. I've covered on this channel in great detail to the point to which he actually took his report down offline to where the 10, 20, 30 plan was literally millions upon millions of dollars that went to majority non-Black communities, majority non-Black cities, majority white, majority Native American communities. So that had nothing to do with the descendants of American slavery. And we all know as well that the American Rescue Plan was not a reparations down payment. Now, with that being said, Marcel, after your encounter with Jim Clyburn, what is it that led you to the point to say, you know what, I'm going to be the one that runs against him? Because I don't think that was your initial intention going in, nor your initial intention even coming out of that conversation. So what is it that led you to that point?
Well, first of all, it was his, as you mentioned, his condescending, disrespectful attitude. But more than that, it was his dismissiveness